good evening. This was supposed to start a little bit earlier, but body clock be damned. But yeah, so the reason for this stream. Oh, hello. I am Charles. Welcome to WILIscredia. Today we're going to be doing something interesting because um, in watching YouTube on the TV, I don't know what rabbit hole I fell down, but I saw something that caused me to go down an algorithm. I don't know. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but there was one video that I watched, and then a couple of others that were suggested to me that suggested that our boy Leonardo DiCaprio is overrated, and I won't spoil things, but I thought that was strong, and the case that was being made in this video didn't really help. Doc, aloha. Hope you're doing well. Stiff kittens. I think Grape is overrated. I don't. Are you talking about the mustard or Gray himself? Because that's I don't think any of that. Where was I? So yeah, what we're going to be doing is a live tier list. There are a handful of movies of DiCaprio's that I have not seen, and there is a category in this tier for have not seen, and it's down in the blue category. Most of his big stuff, I've seen stuff where he is the lead actor. I mean, I don't think there's been a DiCaprio movie in the 21st century that I haven't seen. So I think it's interesting because the number of the movies in this tier list is 31. I think had I known that that was something to be on top of, I probably would have brought this to someone's attention. But some of these movies, I don't think it's a true 31 because, as you'll see, some of these movies, not what you would call DiCaprio projects. But yeah, so here we are. The tiers are as such: best, amazing, good, meh, bad, haven't seen / don't remember. Scott says, I think it should be noted that Leo doesn't get Titanic if River Phoenix doesn't die. Sacrificed in parentheses, thus propelling his career, spelled with an S. Yeah, so here are the movies. You guys are blocking over my head here, but Critters 3, Poison Ivy, This Boy's Life, Gilbert Grape, Basketball Diaries, The Quick and the Dead, Total Eclipse. There's a glowing one that I have not seen. Romeo and Juliet, Marvin's Room, Titanic, Man in the Iron Mask, Celebrity, another one I haven't seen. That's a Woody Allen film. The Beach, Catch Me If You Can, Gangs of New York, The Aviator, The Departed, Blood Diamond, Body of Lies, Revolutionary Road, Shutter Island, Inception, J. Edgar, Django Unchained, Great Gatsby, easy for you to say, The Wolf of Wall Street, The Revenant, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Don't Look Up, Killers of the Flower Moon, and One Battle After Another. I don't know if you'd like to make the argument that DiCaprio is overrated. Okay, but a lot of those movies are just absolute bangers. So I don't know if I think we're going to judge the movies and do caveats on whether or not DiCaprio affected those films with his presence or his performance. I think there's a handful of movies that you can definitely point to and say, oh yeah, DiCaprio is anchoring this movie, or in some cases, especially early there. Here we go. First movie is Critters 3. I'm having a hard time with this. Critters 3, which is DiCaprio's introduction. I'm not trying to. So this is a movie that he's kind of barely in. Not one of my favorites. I don't know if you could say his performance is consequential to this, but I'll put Critters 3 in meh. Critters 3 is the only sequel he's been in. Interesting. Also true. Okay, next. One that, like, he does not have a speaking role in, and I actually watched somewhat recently, within the last year and a half or so. It's Poison Ivy, starring Drew Barrymore. Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio is in Poison Ivy the way I am in Ghost Rider. They're both true, but it's not even blink and you'll miss it. If you keep focused and you're not knowing where you're looking, you'll miss it. But Poison Ivy, not good, and it has nothing to do with his performance. Hell, maybe if he was on screen more, that movie would have been better. But Poison Ivy, yeah, not. It's like Skinamax made for TV stuff that just isn't. I don't know if they make movies like that anymore. Do they make like smutty late night? Because there's no cable companies, or there's no like, yeah. Everyone's kind of cut the cord, right? So I don't know if there's like smutty late night stuff that you would. Does like Tubi count? But Tubi's like something you go out of your way to watch. All right, so the first one that it's been a while, This Boy's Life, which I've seen it. I don't remember. Again, this is like the first time he's had like a genuine performance in. Bobby D. I'm going to put it in meh. I really should put it in haven't seen / don't remember, but I do remember vague moments of it, and I don't remember it sticking out too much. But like, if that were like one of his worst movies, it's quite a career he has. And right after that, I'm sorry, he's already an Oscar-nominated actor. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Johnny Depp, the one quote unquote name that was in this. Yeah, DiCaprio plays a mentally challenged person and absolutely annihilates it. And this, if you watch something like Tropic Thunder, and you wonder where that trope, that cliche about Hollywood actors playing mentally disabled people, you could go back to Rain Man, but DiCaprio probably should have won the Oscar for that performance. But the movie itself was just kind of okay. Already DiCaprio's kind of anchoring a performance, and I'm going to put it in good because it's kind of depressing. Hollywood, for as much as we'd like to talk about one side of the political aisle being a bit heavy-handed, around award season, Hollywood gets really shallow, and their morality really comes through, where they're trying to make you feel like, oh, we care about people, we know what's right. The lead actress from this movie, who's a larger woman, there was like buzz around her performance, and I think that's kind of shitty, because it wasn't really about her performance so much, and it was just like, oh, this isn't a typical Hollywood actor in a film. And the same thing happened a few decades later with Precious, where it's like, oh, this isn't the prototype. This is something special. It's like, yeah, no, it's someone that looks like regular Americans. What are you talking about? Um, but yeah, I think she passed away shortly after this movie, not like immediately after, but at some point. Basketball Diaries. He follows up What's Eating Gilbert Grape with a performance about a high schooler who's into smack, the black tar heroin, and once again does a very, very good job of being a actor. Um, Jennifer Melfi's in this as his mother. Jennifer Melfi of Sopranos fame. Jennifer Melfi is the character's name. My apologies. But Basketball Diaries, it's one of the few movies in the 90s that I watched, and I was like, this is actually pretty gritty for something that I ended up seeing without like someone telling me not to. It's a bit it's a bit melodramatic, but there's some stuff that like really hits, and again, DiCaprio's performance here like I think he had an interview a little while ago that like he doesn't really drink, he doesn't really get into drugs. For someone who doesn't know anything about drugs, his performance is wild. The one thing I would say is heroin's supposed to be a downer, and he's a little wild and all over the place with his performance, which I don't know if that would be heroin. And I guess if you want a master class on how to act like someone on H, you probably check out Transporting too. You want to watch Transporter 1, 2, and 3? I don't know how much H is in that movie, but Train Spotting is what I meant to say. Basketball Diaries, I'm going to put that in amazing. Basketball Diaries is a better movie, in my opinion, than Gilbert Grape, and both of those movies are fantabulous performances by Mr. DiCaprio. Next, The Quick and the Dead. I haven't seen this since the 90s, so I'm going to put this in the haven't seen slash don't remember. It's a Western. Sharon Stone is in it, and yeah, I maybe of the movies so far that I'd like to kind of circle back to and say I should really watch that again. That's probably the one so far. But yeah, Quick and the Dead, I don't remember much at all. His performance, the movie. So I'm going to leave that and haven't seen, don't remember. While we're at it, Total Eclipse, have not seen, just outright have not seen it. Next, a movie that I actually was shown this in school, and a teacher thought was like, "Hey, we're gonna make them watch something that is educational but still kind of modern and hip." And it's Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. Wild take, and it's interesting the way it's presented, and it's like really flashy looking, and the dialogue is the same. I remember that being a bit of a hurdle for me, but man, a lot of girls my age at this time were quoting this movie, and it was a big deal. Yeah, this is probably the beginning of the DiCaprio is a heartthrob arc. I'm gonna call it good. Not particularly my cup of tea. Yes, yes. Scott says they showed Romeo and Juliet in school. Wow. Yes. Again, this was a teacher that thought he was hip and being cool. Reminder that this stream is brought to you by every end-to-end tracking across 200 countries and territories. So delivery made to you. I don't know where that is, but it's here. I cannot highlight that. I highlight it, and now it's brought to you by Adobe Firefly. So if you need to edit with prompts, you could do that in Adobe Firefly. Thanks, Adobe Firefly, for presenting this episode of Weekend Live. All right, next, Marvin's Room. This is one that I I don't think I've seen all of it. I do know that my mother watched this around the time it came out, and I don't think it was something that I caught much of. It didn't catch my attention. Uh, I'm going to put it in haven't seen slash don't remember because I might have seen parts of it. I do not remember it. Um, Basketball Diaries is incredible. Next, Titanic. Have I told you that DiCaprio was considered quite a heartthrob in the late '90s? This movie's, I mean, we'll put that at the top here. Titanic is great. It's a great romance movie. It's a great action movie. It's a great. I don't want to say historically accurate film because it really isn't. But for the moment that it came out, um, it's interesting. It makes me incredibly sad that people think that Titanic is just a movie. People do not know that Titanic really happened. So we're not we're not getting smarter in time. And yeah, Titanic, great movie. I remember the VHSs. There was a two VHS set, and if you started the movie from the second VHS, that's basically the action part of the movie. Like the iceberg was hit, and I think like the opening scene of the second VHS is the ice on the deck. And yep, as a kid, I would skip all that romance junk and jump right into an hour 20 minutes of Titanic sinking, which I think that's the first movie where we were informed that the Titanic broke up into two pieces. So yep, yeah, and just like Troy saying, we used to watch just the second tape to skip the crap. Yep, but I can attest to very many uh, people enjoying the romance. I saw this, one of my uncles, we went to see this opening weekend. And the funny thing was, you know, I was raised by a single mom. So a lot of stuff that I ended up watching was like female coded, but all of like my dude bro stuff that I ended up watching was probably under the influence of my uncles. But at the same time, if they wanted to watch something that they thought of as a, chick flick or whatever, they would bring me with them because, they didn't want their significant others knowing that they were into that stuff. So opening weekend, one of my uncles, who was, I don't think he was even 20 yet, uh, brought me, his nephew, to go see Titanic, and we were giddy and had a really good time with it. I think after we saw it, he was like, let's watch this again. It just sat through 3.5 hours of a half romance movie, and we had a really good time with it. I was like his dark little secret, and it wasn't worth hiding. Um, yes, I'm not speaking in codes when referencing my uncle. Man in the Iron Mask. This is where DiCaprio plays two roles. He plays brothers, and I do remember this, Malkovich at the height of Malkovich being a little silly. Um, it's a wild one when you consider the mainstream stuff that DiCaprio has been in that period. Um, I'm gonna put Man in the Iron Mask in meh. another one that I could probably rewatch and maybe think about how I feel about it. I do remember it, not incredibly. I do remember him with his long hair and uh, being the twin that's locked away in the basement and that dumb mask. Um, Next is Celebrity. That is a movie I have not seen. That is a Woody Allen film. The Beach. Who directed The Beach? I should know this. Is it 28 Days Later? Alex Garland wrote this, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but The Beach, this was one of the first DiCaprio movies that I watched. Well, if you're not counting Titanic, this was one of the first ones I watched in the theater. Yeah. Well, it's the second one because I saw Titanic already. But The Beach, it's interesting. It's flashy. Danny Boyle, thank you, Jacob. Yes, it is Danny Boyle, and it's like the first seeds of Danny Boyle's style. Um, and I kind of enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm going to put The Beach in good. Like it's almost teetering too. Like it's not a is it meh or amazing? It's probably closer to amazing for me. Tristan says The Beach is 2/3 fantastic. I think it's 2/3 fantastic, but you know what drags it down isn't like devastating for that movie. Maybe that's another one I should revisit. But saw that as a kid, as a teenager, enjoyed it. Like I had inspiration of just deciding to run away from everything and go live on an island and and be a part of some commune. But yeah, there's a handful here that I'd really like to get back to. Catch Me If You Can, Spielberg's first go around with Mr. DiCaprio. Just recently rewatched this, and Emily, I don't know if she jumped in late or what, but it was one of those instances where Emily will drop in when I'm watching something and then kind of be in and out and carry about her day. Was watching Catch Me If You Can recently, and she plunkered down Catch Me If You Can with Tom Hanks and DiCaprio. Just a really, really solid movie. Martin Sheen's in this. Amy Adams in one of her first roles. I'm gonna put this in best. That's a movie that I really like. I just watched it within a year or so ago, and I would happily rewatch it. It's a really good time. It's really flashy. Um, Spielberg, when he's on, he seems to throw a bunch of really good movies together in one year. If I'm not mistaken, Catch Me If You Can is the same year that he put out Minority Report, which is it just doesn't make sense. Um, a really, really, really solid time. Yeah, and I would agree with that. Jacob says, Catch Me If You Can is one of the few good movies Spielberg has made since the 2000s. And it seems like two of them are made in the same year. Yes, I really enjoy Catch Me If You Can. That's something that you can kind of show anyone. It's, yeah, he's a thief. But I think it's something that you can kind of show to like a family, kids, maybe not young kids, but it's not things that are happening in the movie aren't incredibly offensive if you had kids walking around or something. There's I think there's nudity. I don't think there's violence in any way. There's just you know, check kiting, and it's got a nice little story at the heart there. I absolutely love Catch Me If You Can. It might be my favorite. Oh, definitely my favorite Spielberg of the 21st century. Up now we get started with our Scorsese run. Gangs of New York, Daniel Day-Lewis and Cameron Diaz. This is Cameron Diaz at the height of her being an A-list actor for that decade. Not my favorite Scorsese, not my favorite DiCaprio. Probably the one of the stuff that I watch of DiCaprio and Scorsese, not the one I go back to the most. But I'm still gonna put it in amazing. Like, bad Scorsese is still really fucking good otherwise. Tristan says Catch Me If You Can is arguably Leo's most fun movie. Yes, an argument can be made for that. Certainly one that you can kind of safely show to not the whole family, but you know, it's kind-hearted at its core. There's heart there, but it's a good time. It's something that's over 2 hours and it doesn't really feel it, which is kind of impressive. But yeah, not great Scorsese, still pretty great. Speaking of not great Scorsese, The Aviator. Here goes the run where a bunch of nominations and not much hardware. The Aviator, Leonardo DiCaprio playing Howard Hughes. Another long one. I liked the visual style to signify the differences in periods in Howard's life. Off-putting color in the beginning of this movie. But hey, DiCaprio plays someone with mental issues rather well again. I can't quite put it in. His performance is spectacular. Once again, Scorsese putting on a clinic. I'm going to put it in amazing, and I feel like I'm selling it short of it. The Aviator is something that I don't know. I think so. Spoiler: the content that I was watching cited his performance in The Aviator as overrated because he was doing was it DID? Where he's having an issue where he's washing his hands and he's bringing the milk, bringing the milk, bringing the milk. I guess by modern standards, it might be a tacky performance, but I don't think anyone else was doing anything like that at that point. And even by modern standards, who else does a performance that like gives you the fear of the character? There's moments where like he's like on autopilot, but in his eyes you could see that he's out of control and he's concerned. I don't know. I have a blind spot, I guess. I quite enjoy The Aviator. Next, The Departed. Man, we had a little string here of Scorsese. Departed, a remake of Infernal Affairs, which another very good movie, and Scorsese copies it and makes it his own in an incredible way. Stacked cast. Yeah, I'm going to put The Departed in best. I think it's Scorsese's first time winning an Oscar, and it probably should have been like his fourth. But yeah, Departed, DiCaprio technically is like splitting the lead actor role there with Matt Damon. It's a solid movie. It's so stacked and it moves so quickly. Yet another movie that's over 2 hours that just cruises. Jack Nicholson, Alec Baldwin. You have a ton of people. Mark Wahlberg in this as a bit of a smartass. Don't get attached to very many characters in this movie, but wild. It's the first movie that I've watched and was like, oh wow. It doesn't matter who anyone is. They're going to kill off characters in this movie. What was not? Tristan says it was so good. Mark Wahlberg was nominated. Was he nominated? Man, talk about pulling someone's performance up. That's wild. He's best of a stacked cast. Yeah, but there's no bad performances here either. Yeah, Departed, like that's another one that like talking about it now, I'm like, man, I would really want to rewatch this. Blood Diamond. Finally, we're away from Scorsese. Not like it's done any harm or anything. DiCaprio playing a South African. That accent, I'd never heard a South African speak at that point in my life, and I was like, why is he doing like this weird French thing? But yep, it's Blood Diamond that introduced me to that accent. Blood Diamond trade in Africa where people do terrible things for our jewelry. One that I probably really, how many times have I said this now? One that I really would like to go back and watch, and I probably should, but for some reason, like I don't know if I own this. That might be a problem. Hard to rewatch something if you don't have it at your fingertips. But I'm going to put Blood Diamond at good, and I think I'm short selling it a bit. Yeah. And while I'm on it, DiCaprio and Crow in Body of Lies. This I do own. I have watched recently. Nope, that's not a vote there. It's probably one of the more background noise movies. Like it's something that I watched it recently, like within 10 years ago, and it was just something where it's like, yeah, it's okay. And that's I'm gonna put it in meh. It's weird for as much as I think of DiCaprio in the 21st century, it's like, oh, just bangers all the time. But then you forget something like Body of Lies. It is. I don't know. I don't know if it's the fact of the movies that he's done leading into that, or it's just like, what is this? This feels like messy, and it's unfortunate. I really think I wanted to like that, and yeah, it's not bad. Let me add that to the stack of movies that I'll probably rewatch just for the sake of checking on myself. Revolutionary Road. DiCaprio and Winslet back together, except they are not Jack and Rose in this movie. I tell you what, this was nominated too a bunch, and it's one of those cases where you really think everything in it is spectacular, and it is. But then you have a movie like Marriage Story come out with Kylo Ren, and it's like, oh, this does the same story, but like way, way better. A similar version of the story. Revolutionary Road goes through the marriage of this couple, and gets really kind of, I don't know, it left a sour taste in people's mouths who wanted to see Winslet and DiCaprio in a movie again where they were all lovey-dovey. It's if you're not feeling great about relationships, I wouldn't suggest throwing this on. Although Marriage Story is probably worse. It's it could probably split the difference between Kramer versus Kramer and the Marriage Story. But I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put it in amazing, and only because it's something that you don't like watching it, but there's an appreciation for watching it when you watch it. You're like, oh, that was great. I never want to watch that again. Yeah, it's a difficult time. Again, especially if you've ever had a rough go rounds in relationships. Next, back to Scorsese, Shutter Island. Um, I don't know. I've heard people say that this isn't a horror movie; it's more a psychological thriller. Sure, okay, I'll take all of the above. Really, really strong movie. The author had a bit of a gripe with this movie. The last line of this movie is something that the author didn't write, and I think the last line is spectacular in this movie. Um, it's best for me. Uh, in this year, I remember I was talking to friends saying, Oscar nomination, please. And they're like, what, for Inception? I was like, no, I'll take that, but no. Shutter Island, another difficult watch. That last third is just brutal. And I don't know. I was offended when people were like, "Oh, it's not really a horror movie." I'm like, this is if horror movies were like this, we'd be in good shape. Little did I know that horror would be what it is today. Shutter Island would be a comfortable movie being released today as a horror movie in the landscape today. And it's really, really fantastic, and it rewards multiple viewings because you notice things a little bit differently after experiencing that last act. And Inception, I'm not going to spend much time boring you, but Inception is best. I say that because I enjoyed DiCaprio's performance. Inception, I quite enjoy that movie quite a bit. It is my favorite film of all time. My favorite DiCaprio film, my favorite Nolan film, my favorite film. No Notes, great action movie, great movie for the film bros. A healthy mix of action and thought process shit. It's a little heady at times. You're like, wait, this doesn't make sense. But if you're circling back to talk about what does and does not make sense, you're going to get left behind. No Notes, Inception. Oh, okay. Anyway, J. Edgar, with Citizen Vigilante himself in this movie. Yep. This is part of that stretch where DiCaprio was like, I need an Oscar. I definitely need an Oscar. And this movie felt the most like him just trying to shortcut to an Oscar. And yeah, I'm gonna put it in meh. It's an all right movie. Trying to tell a little bit of an interesting story on J. Edgar Hoover and some of his proclivities. Play the soundbite. This is probably one that I should watch again and probably would update my thoughts on it. I can imagine after a rewatch it either going up or down. I don't know if I think of J. Edgar as bad in my memory. But man, next. Now we're working with Tarantino. Django Unchained. DiCaprio playing a villain flawlessly. Yeah, I'm going back to the well here. Django Unchained is best for me. If you want to talk exclusively about DiCaprio's performance, if you want to talk exclusively about the film itself, Jamie Foxx, incredible. Christoph Waltz on the heels of Inglorious Bastards, fantastic work. Really, this is not something you can show to children or family. It's a very solid time. I would say that if someone were to say that J. Edgar, Django Unchained is their favorite Tarantino movie, I can probably understand and get behind that. If they said that Django Unchained is their favorite DiCaprio movie for the villain performance alone, I could get behind it. And yeah, I get it. That's one that isn't on very much, but when it is, I'll just watch it. Even if it's on, like, how much I'm watching television is not much at all, but even if it were like on TBS or something and you got to sit through commercials, I would probably sit through the commercials because just a good time. Although watching Django Unchained on TBS, that would be absolutely neutered. Blurring out the gore and muting the curses. Gatsby. I remember there being a big deal about this. Gore Verbinski again? Gore Verbinski. Baz Luhrmann? Definitely wasn't Gore Verbinski. I wanted to like this and really didn't. I don't have notes on how I would improve it or how it would be improved. I'm going to put it in meh for now. Wait. Hayden Baker. Cheers. $5 super chat. I sent you an email if you get a chance to look later. Also, I've never seen never seen Inception. Should I? Yes. 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 All right. I will check my email after this is all done. Thanks for the super chat and go watch Inception, will you? Jesus. How have you lived this long without not watched Inception? There's no excuses. You're old enough to drive. You're old enough to watch Inception. That's the rule in my book. But thank you for the super chat. I'll check my my crap later. Oh man. So we're going back to Scorsese. The Wolf of Wall Street. Just to let you in, I just rewatched this. 3-hour movie that fucking cruises. How often can you say that about a 3-hour movie where it just rolls? Every character in this movie is absolutely deplorable. I re-updated my Letterboxd account and I did a quick review. I said, oh, so the U.S. government watched this movie and treats this movie the way athletes treat Rocky. It wouldn't be so depressing if it weren't funny. But I'm not putting it in amazing. I'm putting it in best. Can you figure out whether or not I think DiCaprio is overrated yet? Wolf of Wall Street, really, really good time. It's a hell of a character study on an. Would you even call it an anti-hero? There's no redeemable qualities about anything that he does. Well, certainly by the end, it makes me feel weird when I watch a movie where I'm having a good time, but also I do not acknowledge anything that people are doing in this movie as good or noble. But Wolf of Wall Street, the ultimate do not try this at home movie, and it's a movie where, for the most part, the bad guys win. And in case you haven't been watching real life at all recently, it's a sad state of affairs that sometimes people who cheat they win. And yes, Tristan says, I kind of think Jonah Hill's a scene stealer. Yeah, this was like, I think this was the first movie where people were like, oh, Jonah Hill's actually, he's not just a comedic actor. There's something going on here. Watching it today, I realized that there's a lot of CG in this, and that's not something I would associate with Scorsese movies, but there's a lot of like odd CG, and I don't know why that was the case. Were they short on money, or just really, really? If there's something that's disarming about this movie to me now, 10 years later, it's the fact that it's like CG heavy. Yes, Jacob, very good point. Jacob says he's channeling Buster Keaton and Chaplin with his physical comedy in that movie. Yeah, the white Lamborghini, that sequence where he's got to go from the country club back home and get Jonah Hill off the phone. Laughed at it out loud again recently. I didn't expect Wolf of Wall Street to be a comedy the way it was. And it kind of, I don't know if that's a sad state of affairs on comedy, but if you want to laugh your ass off, you can put on Wolf of Wall Street. And the same way that like people, like, should I quote a bunch of Goodfellas quotes? It's like darkly funny. Wolf of Wall Street is like that times 50. And there's a ton of comedy sequences that, like, I remember thinking, what the fuck? Where did this come from? Why is DiCaprio like a very good comedic actor in a time where comedy's kind of, I don't know, needed, desperate for it? Anti-hero, hell no, but damn, it feels good to be a gangster. A 3-hour flick that flies by. Dude, I'm telling you, I rewatched it and I was like, man, I just wasted 3 hours. And it didn't feel like it. It's finally Oscar time. It's Oscar time. The Revenant. A movie I have not watched since it was out. Great movie, great performance. I'll put it in amazing. This is borderline haven't seen / don't remember, because the last time I saw it was, I think I watched it when the Blu-ray came in. Solid movie, really, really solid. Congratulations on your Oscar. That was probably 4 films too late. But I maybe push the button. Maybe I should go back and rewatch The Revenant. I'd be intrigued to see. I could see that going down. I could see Gatsby going down or up, J. Edgar going down or up, Body of Lies going down. I would like to rewatch Quick and the Dead. There's a couple here where if I rewatched, I'm pretty sure there'd be a little bit of a shift. Next, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And the funny thing here is the fact that there's Brad Pitt, DiCaprio, and Margot Robbie on the poster, a little deceptive. Oh, I forgot DiCaprio and Robbie in a movie again after Wolf of Wall Street. I don't think they share a scene. Margot Robbie's like kind of in this, but she plays Sharon Tate. I think Brad Pitt is in this movie way more than DiCaprio is. I would call this the least rewatchable of the Tarantino stuff, oddly enough. Not counting his lesser well-received stuff. But I'll put it in amazing. It's still Tarantino. The same story goes with Tarantino as Scorsese. Bad is still pretty good. Like Bad New York pizza is the fucking best pizza you've had if you're in Alaska. Bad New York pizza is the best slice you've had if you're in Europe. Not great Tarantino is still pretty fucking good by anyone else's standards. Revenant makes me want to put on a coat. Yes, it does feel very cold, that movie. Revenant is overrated. Leo spends 20% just grunting. Hollywood's just a tad overrated. I agree with that. Um, Not my favorite. And if anything, I'm like kind of turned off by it because he does the Inglorious Bastards thing with the ending where it's just like, I'm sorry, I don't really care much about this character that you've saved the day. Like you need to know what really happens to Sharon Tate for the ending to feel special and different. Because if you're just going on the movie, you're like, oh, that actress we were following around um, is their neighbor, and there's a standoff between people with guns and knives, and Mikey Madison in that movie. Man, who knew that Mikey Madison would have been the one to watch coming out of that movie? Oscar winner. But yeah, like some of the gimmick behind that movie, I don't really buy into it. It's still a good time. But I agree. I think it's overrated. People saying things like, "Oh, yeah, it's Tarantino's best." Just slow down. Slow down with all that talk. Good call. I want the real ending. I don't know if I want the real ending, but if you want me to give a shit about the fact that nothing happens to her and she lives, I I need to like care about that character. Like us going to the movie theater with her for her to watch her movie. Sweet moment, sure, but as far as the film is concerned, what have you done in that movie to give us anything with that? Like the her character conflict is the fact that there's no conflict. Her character conflict is the fact that you know the real life person suffered some conflict, but the movie subverts that. And I'm sorry, that's not conflict. Porting your own real life shit into the movie and knowing, oh, something big's going to happen, and then it not, that doesn't count for me. Tarantino, tell a story for grown-ups challenge, impossible. Fair, fair. I'm tired of the revisionist history gimmick. Yeah, it rubbed me the wrong way in that movie, and maybe if I rewatched that, it would maybe drop down. I rewatched it in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's fine. Like the first hour or two, that first hour and a half or so, I kind of wanted more time with like it could just. I mean, we're getting the Brad Pitt movie. I I don't know. It was torn between being the Brad Pitt story and a love letter to Hollywood in that time, and I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of things. It's not one specific thing, and I'm kind of bummed out about it. Don't Look Up, Adam McKay, another heavy hitter with a bunch of people. This is a COVID era. I think straight to Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. Jennifer Lawrence, um, Jonah Hill again, Meryl Streep, and of course DiCaprio. Um, Not my favorite McKay movie, and it's only come out in the last 5 years or so. And I remember people like making a fuss over it, and I think that was at the height of COVID and everyone just being very, very on edge about things. And the overreactions in both directions to this movie were a bit strong. I'll put it in good. I don't mind. Don't Look Up. It's not one like if I'm looking at this stack of movies, I don't know how many times I'm picking up Don't Look Up to rewatch. It's still funny. It does not hit the way The Big Short does. It's like not even close. It's the same style. There's very clear similar style there that is there, but it doesn't have that same bite. but you could do worse. Killers of the Flower Moon, the one that now this is Scorsese, a movie that feels like it's runtime. I've watched it once, have not gotten back around to it. It's wild. This is one of the most modern ones on this list, and I'm like really hazy on it. I'm going to put it in good, cautiously, because see, watching Wolf of Wall Street again or rewatching Killers of the Flower Moon, I would probably rewatch Wolf of Wall Street again, rather than update my my feelings on that movie. I enjoyed it when it came out. I think I gave it 4 stars when it came out. Yep. And last but certainly not least, One Battle After Another is not going in bad. Sorry, it's in best. Fantastic movie. Another heavy duty cast. DiCaprio, like he's played a lot of different types of characters, and I'm here for all of it. Like that top line alone: Titanic, Catch Me If You Can, Departed, Shutter Island, Inception, Django Unchained, Wolf of Wall Street, and One Battle After Another. They're all kind of different characters. I mean, I guess Titanic and Catch Me If You Can, kind of similar. Departed is its own thing. Shutter Island, its own thing. Inception is out there. Django Unchained, he's kind of a villain. Writing that, Wolf of Wall Street, just deplorable fucking dude, but funny. Like the comedy in that is incredible. And to that point, the comedy in One Battle After Another is the fucking phone call when he's got to give the code, and he's just berating the dude on the phone. It was absolutely hysterical. He's a bit of a fuck up for the middle portion of the movie, and it's just absolutely hysterical. I don't like the fact that people chain their political shit to that movie, because it's just a really, really, really good movie. I'm kind of excited to rewatch it. It's, I don't know, if I watched a movie every year. He keeps saying he'll retire. Don't make promises you can't keep quitting. Yeah, well, it's almost like, oh, the 10th one and I'm done. Just do it. What about the side story about Brad Pitt? Are you interested? Yeah, the one that's coming out, right? I'm intrigued. Having different writers and directors is curious to me. McKay's comedies are better than McKay's serious movies. Yes, but wouldn't Big Short count as a comedy then? Not including Don't Look Up, there's a streak here where he's overshadowed by someone else in a good movie. That's fair. Yeah. Yep. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, yes. Revenant, he won an Oscar. Sure. Yeah, I can see that statement. Del Toro needs to be mentioned here as one of the best. Yes. Not a fan of One Battle After Another for numerous reasons. Leo is fun in it though. Him arguing with that dork over the phone was genuinely funny. Indeed. And if anything, it's for people like bring politics into this, kind of makes the left look pretty fucking ridiculous. Tarantino needs to shit or get off the pot already. Either you make your 10th film already or stop talking about it. I agree. So here is the list. There's like a handful of movies that I'd really like to rewatch and probably would have to re-update this list. But in the best category, Titanic, Catch Me If You Can, Departed, Shutter Island, Inception, Django Unchained, Wolf of Wall Street, one battle after another. No matter what you feel about DiCaprio as an actor, that top row of movies, like, can you go without watching any of those movies? Like, if we were to just magically erase all of those movies off the face of the earth, are you okay with that? Again, not if you have an issue with DiCaprio's performance, whatever, you're losing those movies. Are you okay with that? And I just cannot do it. There are times where he's in movies that I feel like, yeah, I'm sure anyone else could have made this movie. It could have been affected or not by someone else. But there are times where I feel like, in the case of Basketball Diaries, I think he absolutely pulls that movie up. The Aviator probably would have been like really boring in someone else's performance. Trying to think what else. I think the comfort between DiCaprio and Winslet in Revolutionary Road maybe is part of the reason why that hit so hard, because we felt like we were watching our parents fight. Yeah, I might be on that, Troy. Troy says, of the rewatch list, I'd go with Quick and the Dead first. I might do that. I have this blind spot to the Western stuff. And I'd be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out that I have not seen the entire thing. I mean, me watching it now would basically be like a first time watch. But there you have it. Are there any glaring movies on this list that you think, oh, that's a bit high or that's a bit low? Either way, no matter what your opinion is on what my rankings are, I do not think DiCaprio is overrated. Like, quite the opposite. I feel like when you talk about people with multiple Oscars, multiple nominations, I feel like, sure, some of it, his one Oscar is probably the one that I wouldn't have given him one for, but I would have given him 3 or 4 elsewhere. Tristan says, Basketball Diaries is super authentic as a recovering addict. My heart will go on without Titanic happily. Alrighty then. So that is my DiCaprio tier list. I don't know if I'm offended at the idea of him being overrated. But what about his performance in Growing Pains, sir? We're only talking about movies, so we're luckily we don't have to get into that. But yeah, if you're watching this in the future, let me know down below if there's something that you disagree with, because I don't know. There's a bunch here that I'm kind of open to, and I probably will rewatch The Quick and the Dead. I don't know if I have much interest in watching Total Eclipse. Marvin's Room is probably one that maybe if it's on cable that I don't have, I would get around to it. And Celebrity is the one that, like, he's not even in it that much. But Woody Allen is very, very hit or miss. Lots of miss, as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, if you have an idea to do something like this for a different actor or director, let me know down below. Please click like and subscribe and all of that other stuff. It really helps the channel out. Cheers. We'll see you next time.